Lauren here. Today I'm starting a new series about putting your clients and customers second and yourself first. Now, I know that's not the norm, but hear me out. So I know you want to serve your clients and customers. Everybody does. It's so important to have a strong customer journey and a great client experience. Customer referrals can be the #1 source of driving your business to success, especially in small business where you are the face of your business. And reviews and having testimonials on your site can be the tipping point to turn people from just a browser to an actual buyer. So why then am I saying that your clients and customers should come second? That seems off. We know that the saying goes, the client is always right. But here's the thing. If you're like me and you are taking on every client possible, answering emails late into the night, weekends, all the time, constantly being on, constantly taking on as many things as possible, thinking that you're serving your clients best by doing anything that they ask, you eventually are going to burn yourself out. It's like this. Have you ever gone to the fridge, pulled out the milk, and tried to pour it into your cereal, only to find there are only a few drops left? My little brothers were notorious for that growing up, and it drove me nuts. But it's the same way in business. You cannot pour from an empty container. So if you yourself are constantly pouring and pouring into your clients and your customers, you're not going to have anything left to give in the end. And that's when you run dry and you just can't continue on like that any longer. So if you're constantly putting your clients above everything else, you risk that burnout. And then how can you serve them if you're burned out? The same thing goes even before you hit that burnout level. If you're stressed and tired because you're staying up late to meet deadlines, and if you're answering emails at all hours of the day or even holidays, then first of all, that's not fair to your family, and they're going to have resentment towards you and your business. And so you're not serving your family well, and that's not serving you as a person very well. And eventually your clients, if you do step your foot down and you start setting these boundaries, then they're going to be frustrated that they're not hearing from you right away. So, and also if you think about it, if you're always stressed and tired, how can you give a good customer experience? If you're on the phone with them or on a video chat, meeting face to face, they're going to pick up on it that you're not happy, and that's going to play into your work. You can't produce your best work and be the most creative and have the most focus and finish things on time if you're dragging through the day, stressed, tired, frustrated, overwhelmed. You're not serving anyone if you're constantly living in that state. The other thing is, you could end up in a feast or famine cycle. Now, I know I've been there with my old design business. At one point, I was taking on so many clients, I was growing so fast that I finally had to stop marketing myself. I just didn't have time to market or network because I was so consumed with client projects, deadlines, trying to get my designs out the door. Most of these were branding projects, which meant that once they're done, they're done. So it wasn't constant, a year's worth of projects. It was a couple months. So I had this cycle of I was growing, taking on so many client projects, but then it got to the point where it peaked and I finally finished people's projects. Or for perhaps you, your peak is just your capacity, your max. You cannot physically handle any more projects. So at that point, when you've maxed out or when you've finished those client projects, the only way to go is down. And then you're in that famine side of things where you're now rushing to try to find new clients. You're stressing to get invoices so that you can actually pay your bills because you don't know where your next client is coming from. And that's because you didn't have time to focus on you and your marketing and a plan. Perhaps you're in the product-based business and you've got products and you're selling and answering customer emails and constantly taking care of shipping and returns and invoices, and you just can't focus on what's next. Then what happens when you sell out and you have nothing left to offer? So you just can't constantly be putting your clients first. that feast or famine cycle is no fun. You want to know that you've got clients booked out for the next few months, that you've got a plan for what offer comes next, what you're launching, what marketing efforts you'll be putting in, so that you can be sure to always have people coming to you in the doors, paying your invoices so that you can pay your bills, be making money, and ultimately you're going to be so much happier and less stressed when you have that breathing time, when you can relax a little in between projects and not stress out over where the next paycheck is coming from. And the other thing that can happen is that you can get really behind on the business side of things. So if you're constantly doing customer projects and calls and meetings and you don't have time to focus on the back end, things are going to get a little chaotic. So your receipts and your finances, you can get way behind, and then tax time comes and you now have to rush and you don't have time to put that together. So you either have to pay more to have someone else rush do your taxes, or it could even be that you don't have time to look over your contracts and make sure that your legal is in place and make sure that your website, all of the links are working. And perhaps you're also not focusing on networking because you're so busy with clients that those networking, the people you could meet, the events you could attend, the conversations you could have could be something that take your business to the next level. But if you're so busy working on client projects and serving your clients first, you're not going to be able to develop those relationships. Or perhaps your computer is a mess and your desktop, your physical workspace is a mess. I know I can't focus and concentrate when I'm living in a disaster zone. It's just so impossible because there's distractions. You're trying to find your notes, your computer desktop, you're trying to find that one screenshot you took and you can't find it anywhere because there's 500 screenshots on your desktop. I know a couple weeks ago I finally went through my computer desktop and I had icons that literally started making a second row on top of each other because that's how many things I had on my computer desktop. And let me tell you, when I finally made time to clear it off and to organize everything, I could find things faster, I could breathe a little more. It's so much nicer to have time to work on things that maybe aren't revenue generating, but that make your life happier and better, and that ultimately will make you a better person to serve your clients. So ultimately, you have to be putting yourself first and your clients second. It's just never going to run. You can't guarantee long-term success if you don't focus on you and your business, planning and working things out for the future. So you may be wondering, how can I even get to that point? Maybe you've taken on so many clients and you still feel like you're not going to make it. Well, here's the thing. You need to raise your prices. If you've gotten to that point where you're overwhelmed, stressed, completely bogged down, raise your prices. That will allow for two things. A, you can hire people to then take on some of those responsibilities, the things that you personally don't need to be doing. And you can, if you're bringing on, higher projects, higher paying clients, then it'll allow you to open up time because some clients are going to drop out. Some people might not be able to afford you anymore if you raise your prices. But that'll free up your time to be able to focus on your business first and also to be able to give a little more to the clients that you have to make their customer journey that much more special. So if you have any questions on what you should even be working on, make sure to stay tuned for the next few weeks. I've got more videos coming to you that we will talk about the setting boundaries and the importance of that and how to go about that. We'll be talking about how to set aside time and schedule your calendar so that you can work on your business, and then also what you should be working on during that time for your business. And I have a free checklist for you that has 80 items that you should be working on in order to guarantee long-term success. So make sure to check that out at bosscation.com/productivity checklist. So you can check it out above, bosscation.com/productivity checklist, and that's where you'll find resources on all the things you should be doing on the back end. Yes, some of them aren't fun. Legal, finances, that's not fun, but they need to happen. And so that you can relax, refresh, and be able to serve your clients better. So stay tuned for more videos next week. If you found this helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you have any questions or want to share with me what you do to put yourself first and your client second, just leave a comment. And share this video if you have any friends who could totally use a little bit of a break and to put themselves first. Bye for now.